Live.
Good morning, everybody. It's 10:02 a.m. on October 15th, 2024. This is a regular meeting of the Kentucky State Board of Elections. I'm Michael Adams, the Secretary of State, Chief Election Official, and Chair of the Board. I'll call our meeting to order. We'll start with a roll call. I'll begin here on the premises, and then I'll go to the big screen. Member Johnson.
Jerry Johnson, member Franklin County.
And then I'll call you in the order that I see you on the monitor here. Member Perry.
Sue Carol Perry, member Shelby County.
Member Skolnick.
Corey Skolnick, member Jefferson County.
Member Ferris.
Eric Ferris, member Jefferson County.
Member Chandler.
Ben Chandler, member Woodford County.
Member Brangers.
Deanna Brangers, member Jefferson County.
Okay, we have a quorum and we'll proceed to our business. First, read and approve minutes for our last meeting on September 17th. Did anyone have any changes to the draft minutes? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. Next is approval of County Board of Elections replacements. We have a new Democrat in Boyd and a new Republican in McCreary. Karen?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Boyd County's Democratic member has resigned, and for ratification, SBE recommends to the board Sandra Woodward as the replacement to the Boyd County Board of Elections. Would you like me to go ahead and take?
Yeah, let's do them both. Thanks.
McCreary County is a temporary replacement for ratification. Their Republican temporarily resigned because her son is on the ballot in November. And for ratification, SBE recommends to the board Timothy Corder for temporary replacement to the McCreary County Board of Elections.
Okay, let's take these both up together in the same motion if we can. We have a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? I think the dog's opposed. Next is ratification of additional officers. Karen?
In Crittenden County, they are requesting one additional officer for 3 precinct locations. One of the locations is actually a consolidated. It's 2 precincts in one consolidated location. And in Adair County, they are requesting additional officers for 8 precincts, which again, also part of those precincts are consolidated precincts. And that are the 2 counties requesting additional precinct officers today.
Okay, let's take those up in the same motion too. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it. Next is ratification of emergency precinct officers, Adair and Monroe.
In Monroe and Adair, and I'll take those up together again if that's okay. Monroe is requesting emergency precinct officers for 14 of their precincts and or consolidated locations in Monroe County. And Adair County is also requesting 8 precinct and 7. They're requesting 7 precinct officers, either single precincts or consolidated precincts, and 1 for each of those precincts.
Okay, let's take them together. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, so coming back to something that we talked about in our last meeting, we have funds reserved for promotion of early voting. And we've got a couple of proposals here. Does someone from the staff want to kind of walk us through the proposals?
Either you want to welcome or Richard, one of us will. Well, I'll go ahead and start. You know, from the last meeting, we had two board members that were going to join in what we needed to do to start that process. It was Dwight and Ben. Corey declined and passed it along to Dwight to do that. But, you know, as Rachel explained, we needed to find out who was on master agreements and go through the procurement process. We asked 3 companies that were on master agreement, and 1 declined to quote and 2 did, which is what you have in front of you. And we followed up with what those quotes were, sent them to everyone. And it pretty much mirrors the 120,000 early voting, doing digital and some newspaper, maybe weeklies, or I'll let Richard, he worked with them as closely.
Red 7E presented us, and they'd worked with Red 7E before, I think in 2020. They presented a plan with total social media. That was their kind of their idea. Red 7E had social media and the newspapers. BCH had all social media. The difference was a little bit, their cost for administrative costs were a little bit higher, as you saw in the document, than what Red 7E is. We took their expertise opinion on what they were kind of gave us after we had our discussion, and that's what they presented to us between the 2 companies.
So if it's appropriate for the SBE staff, and I think there's been some response, you know, based on looking at both of these, we actually recommend going with Red 7E for this marketing campaign. If any of the board members or someone would like to further comment about that, but based on just the questions and information we got, that's who we feel like is best prepared to get us ready for the campaign to start.
I'll make a motion to approve the staff recommendation of the Red 7E proposal.
I'll second that.
Okay, moved and seconded, and then for discussion, I have some comments. So I think there's a couple differences between these. The price is basically the same. One of them is that BCH already is the vendor for the project my office is doing. Already has all the concepts, has the production, already has done all that work. And their proposal is to spend the money on a mix of social media and connected television, which is to say TV that people watch on streaming, Hulu and stuff like that. And then the other bid is Red 7E, and they've got some social media, but most of their money is in print media advertising. And so looking at it as I do, I think who's the audience we're trying to reach. I think number one, it's people that are probably open-minded to what day they vote. And number 2, people that are probably not really tied in to following election news. So I think the people that are reading print, and I'm a print reader, I read several newspapers every day, but I'm not normal. I'm pretty well informed, and I'm also kind of stuck in my ways. And I think the people that we need to reach are people who are maybe younger and people who are less traditional and less tied into news. So for example, in what I spent from my office, we're doing a lot of advertising on live sports. We're not doing news programs. People that see the news are already seeing us talking about the election and our media efforts to raise awareness of this. So we're buying sports and entertainment and stuff like that. So I think it would be a better buy to focus more on the Hulu type stuff, more people who are sort of not political or watching entertainment, maybe you're a younger demographic, maybe more open-minded to change and things like voting on a different day versus the print media audience, which tend to be older, tend to be a little more habit or habitual in how they vote, and also tend to be better informed because they're reading print. But that's my perspective.
One of the bigger issues that I had was the difference in the management cost. I mean, it was about $35,000 if I'm correct on BCH. And it was about $8,000 on Red 7E. I think it's a valid point as to how much print we do. Coming from rural Kentucky, print is probably a little bit more prevalent in the weeklies and some of those things as to who's reading, whether it's the elderly population or others. I'm not sure. I feel like we could probably, if the board suggested, we could probably recommend increasing the social media component versus the print if that's something the board wanted to do. Or I'm perfectly fine just individually with going with what they proposed. But you make very valid points on what you're saying.
Could I ask the staff, do we have flexibility within the quote to move money around, or is this take it or leave it?
They said that this is their recommendation if that's where we wanted to go, because when the committee met, that was the two venues that they wanted to work with. And so that's what we gave them. I'm sure that there can be some flexibility if we wanted to go all one way or another or decrease. I think the biggest thing that we're fighting with right now is just time. So we're out of time. Where if we had started this, several months ago, we would have had a lot more negotiation and flexibility there. But we're pretty much, because this campaign the campaign is set to start on October 25th. So that's the kind of time frame we're working.
It gives you 1 week. Sprint. Can I ask another question? I'm not sure who I'm asking.
Someone will answer.
Yeah. This is for both proposals. They both offer social media as part of it, but what does that look like? So normally in social media, you have to have an account, you have to have a brand, you have to have a name. Are they suggesting that SBE has a Facebook page and a Twitter account and it's putting stuff out, or what does that look like in terms of the content?
No.
I think they're just going to run ads on social media and then track that and see which groups, and they're going to micro target into different demographics, cover themselves. And in Red 7E, they pushed the print media because they wanted to cover everybody. It's kind of blanketing everybody from all demographics, including the older generation that reads the newspaper. I still read the newspaper. I'm one of those weird people too. Yeah. So, and I actually get the paper too, so I didn't just on my phone. So they do that, and that's the recommendation for what they thought could cover a broad basis.
So would it be banner ads like the billboard? Would it be digital ads that are the digital version of our TV ad, or what would it look like?
Just banner ads.
Just banner ads? Mm-hmm. You click here to go to the portal, find your voting location and days and stuff like that. Would they produce a new ad, or would they take what we did already? I guess it depends on the vendor.
Depends on the vendor.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other piece, I don't recall BCH saying this, but I know that Red 7E said they would prepare it so we could push it out to the 120 counties, and they can put it on their own Facebook or their own website to have that as well, for them to, if they choose to use it, that would be their choice.
And I don't know about the others, but I was kind of caught off guard by BCH's. We were going to use your stuff, and they were like times more expensive, and it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And again, you know, with the newspaper, you're asking about modification. I think maybe it was discussed that we focus more on the weeklies as opposed to trying to get into the bigger markets like Lexington, Louisville. I'm sure that's what yours is reaching as well. And I think maybe we talked about that, you know, as part of maybe a modification to the newspaper is going strictly weeklies or bi-weeklies.
They did say, so when we talked to them, each vendor said this is our proposal as the experts. This is our proposal for the most set of eyes. And when they said that, we actually gave them the statistical demographic data from the last presidential election of who voted, so that they took that demographic and said, okay, if these are the mediums that you want to use, these are the recommended amounts to get the most set of eyes for those demographics. So that was kind of how that came about. And they did include Lexington and Louisville because they felt like that those are big areas and that they thought that needed time.
Anything from the members? Member Ferris?
Hi, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just, in my unscientific, neighborhood viewing of papers in driveways and so forth, and knowing the age of of those people who get the papers and what people I might call the crossword puzzle collection folks, I do think there's value in the print. And I like the idea of considering the weeklies perhaps for that rural flavor of it, having grown up in Bullitt. But I did like that aspect of Red 70 and the feedback that we'll get, on the number of hits on across. They're going across the board, certainly on the social media. So I think we're going to cover both those demographics that numerous ones of us have talked about with that proposal, and that's why I seconded Mr. Chandler's motion.
Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Member Ferris. Mr. Chairman, Dwight and I looked into this in some detail, and we made several decisions relative to this, one of which was we thought that these two mediums that we were going to use would be most effective and most likely not to duplicate anything that you were doing. And we also felt like people who read vote, and they tend to be older people, and we're not sure that they can't be moved to earlier voting. I'm an older person, and I have been moved to early voting. So, I think you can move them. They're not that stuck in their ways that they all have to vote on election day. But what we do know is that they vote, and they vote in large numbers. And if we can move a significant portion of them to early voting, it'll help with any potential lines on election day. We also felt like the amount of administrative fee that was in the Red 7E proposal was clearly substantially less than the other proposal. And all things being equal, we felt like that was the better proposal. We also believe that we can discuss moving some money out to the weeklies as opposed to the dailies, as I think maybe Eric talked about. So we feel pretty strongly about that proposal, and we feel strongly that that those are media that will be useful in this endeavor.
Okay, I'll give you the last word unless anyone else has something. I don't think so. All right. Member Chandler's motion's on the floor. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Can I, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Thanks to Ben and to Dwight for their time and effort that went into this. I think we had two proposals that we could consider. I personally like the Red 7E as well, but I just want to thank you both for taking the time to help pull it together in a short period of time. And, we'll learn from this experience this year, but hopefully it'll help drive some people to the early voting. That's the whole purpose of it. But thanks for that.
Thank you, Jerry. And I want to also thank the staff for some good work on this. They really put in quite an effort to make sure we had two proposals that were in line with what we wanted to do.
Next, we have our financial report. Richard Pointer.
I will keep it brief because not much has been going on as we prepare for next month. There is on the breakdown of general fund expenses, you'll see that there's a miscellaneous charge to KCI, which is Kentucky Correctional Institutions. That is a higher cost that we don't normally see, but that is the new printing of the new voter registration applications. So we got, I think, what was it, Karen, 150,000 of those. So that's a little bit higher. And then you'll see a negative number on telecommunications. That's taking some of the MiFis and Cradle Points from the previous months that they've accumulated to move it into the e-poll book project. And other than that, I don't have any specific quotes on transactions, but I can say that we spoke with the Department of, or the Office of Homeland Security yesterday about the new state and local territory cybersecurity grant that is being distributed. There's 3% of that is elections related. They've already contacted us, so we have the working papers to work as a pass through Franklin County, similar to the last one that we did with Davis County. So that paperwork has already been given to Franklin County. We're waiting on them for their follow-up. I also sent that notification that grant is live out to the county clerks. I know there's a lot of county clerks that needed plum cases. SBE only has a very limited amount of those devices that we can share. So I highly encourage the clerks to apply for them independently because that is a competitive grant. I worked with Homeland Security to make sure that those are viable options, opportunities for that grant. And so that's really, we've been getting the security carts in from the payments for the MOAs that you all approved have already gone out. So we're just kind of wrapping up some of those grants and preparing for the election. And I'll be happy to answer any questions if you all have them about anything.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the report?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. So next we have KCCA. Tabitha is not able to join us this morning, so we're going to skip number 8, and that takes us to report of the executive director. Karen?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just so everyone knows, we're having a countdown. It's 21 days now to the general election. This afternoon, SB will be at the KCCA monthly meeting to do a final presentation here before Election Day on just some reminders and things coming up. Part of the reason why Tabitha wasn't here is as president of KCCA, she is conducting her own meeting today. Just want to remind everyone that the polling locations for all the counties and locations of drop boxes are posted on the SBE website at govote.ky.gov, as well as elect.ky.gov, or you can call the county clerk, your local county clerk, or you can call SBE at 502-573-7100. Some of the important dates coming up. We have Saturday, October 22nd is the absentee portal closes.
That's Tuesday.
Tuesday, I'm sorry, thank you. Tuesday, October 22nd at 11:59, the absentee portal will close. The registration books are now closed. They do reopen November 11th. We have 6-day excused absentee voting, which is October 23rd, 24th, 25th, which is a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, not Saturday, but October 28th, 29th, and 30th, which is a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The 6-day excused absentee voting, mostly those are held in the clerk's offices. October 31st, November 1st, and November 2nd is the 3-day of no excuse early absentee voting, which the secretary and SBE with the HAVA funds will be pushing to get the voters out to vote early this year. We have 3 days, and again, those locations are available at govote.ky.gov. I just want to conclude and say that, as we're leading up to these 3 weeks, that I don't want to speak for the Secretary's office, but I know that in just conversations, SBE, the Secretary's office, the County Clerks Association believe we will have an accurate election in the Commonwealth. We're dedicated to the integrity and the security and the safety of all the voters that will go to the polling locations and cast their ballot. Remember, since Tabitha's not here, I think it would be good to remember that the County Clerks Association are managing all of the polling locations, training the poll workers who will provide you with the customer service as you go in to cast your ballot, making sure that it's efficient and timely as you go in. As well, they will be conducting accuracy and logic testing coming up, which checks every single machine in the state. I think that's important. That's, just to ensure the accuracy of the votes. As well, they are responsible for getting your mail ballots out. The clerks are having some issues with the USPS, and they have been working with SBE. We're working with the post office. It has been some difficulty in making sure that ballots are delivered timely. Voters are concerned and reaching out to the clerks, reaching out, I'm sure, to the Secretary's office, reaching out to us. And I want to assure the public that we're doing everything we can to work with the post office on making sure these ballots are delivered timely, but as well, the drop boxes are available should you feel you do not have enough time to put it in the mail, because those ballots have to be received to the county clerk's office by 6 p.m. on election day, November 5th. But I just want to say again how grateful I am to all the hard work that's been going on in all the with the KCCA, with the Secretary's office and SBE and our staff to make sure that everything is going to be safe, secure, and accurate, because we certainly couldn't do it without the teamwork. So that's how we're doing.
Okay. Any questions for Karen?
Let me ask a couple if I can. So from staff and from your office, are we feeling the numbers are higher than what we've experienced before? Do we think we're in a normal kind of cycle for a presidential? Do you have enough information to even address that? I mean, what are we hearing from the field? Or even on absentee? So we've had, 100,000 requests?
Yeah, which that's unusually high if you grade against last year or the year before. It's lower than in 2020 for obvious reasons.
Right.
I think it's too soon to say. I know I never offer a projection before the portal closes, just because I want to see if there's a surge at the end. Right now, my gut is that we're going to be at a presidential level, but probably not at 2020's level. I think we'll end up around the mid-50s is kind of my gut. But I will add, I spoke at a conference, and the head of the New York Times poll was there speaking. He expects nationally a higher turnout than in 2020, which would be pretty doggone high if that's true. But I think that's somewhat because of increased interest among Democratic voters, and this state is more Republican, so that may be not reflected in Kentucky as much as in, say, California or New York.
Okay, that's all. Thank you. I just always wonder.
Sure.
Clerks are not overly concerned at this point in terms of the work they're doing or running in, I mean, other than post office. Are there any particular concerns on their part?
I think right now that's probably their biggest concern because they're hearing from the voters not receiving their ballots. They're going through all their processes and I think they're well prepared, and continuing to be well prepared. But right now, that's what I'm hearing their biggest concern.
And you can,
Richard, you might
and you
have-
can tell that they're adding more poll workers, so they're anticipating what they'll need to succeed on election day. So
The issue with undelivered absentee ballots, is that confined to the Evansville region for the moment?
Not now.
Okay,
A little bit of Louisville now, too. But I'm not hearing anything from the eastern part of the state. It's all western and. But I may hear more today when I get to.
we'll wait for our messages.
So,
Okay, anything else for Karen? Thank you, Karen. So I know that we need a closed session to discuss litigation. Do we have security also? Okay, I'll just take that off. I know there's at least one case that we need to discuss. So can we have a motion to go into closed session to discuss pending litigation?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? So actually, that's approved, but let me ask, do we have any other business that we need to come back after the closed session to discuss? If not, I'll take other business off. And so when we come back from closed session, all we'll have to do is just to confirm that we're meeting on election day, which is no surprise, and then adjourn. We're not gonna have any other business for our viewers at home. We're just gonna go into closed session for litigation, discussion, and then we'll come out and we'll break. So that I'll see you in just a moment. Thanks, everybody.
Yes, Richard, yes, calm down.